There he goes. Looks like he's gone for good this time. Hey there, welcome to another take of Can You Beat Skyrim if Only Pokemon. This video is going to be using, instead of Summon, we're going to be using Tame the Beast of Skyrim, which was actually recommended by a viewer of the other video named Dominus. So that's why I named that bear in the intro after Dominus. So this mod works pretty differently. It's pretty interesting how this one works. So you're going to get to see that as we start this game up. Of course, this is pretty heavily modded for, Halloween and everything. But you're going to see the world of Skyrim in a hopefully different way this time. And let's get going. So when I had started off, I had a much higher mod list. So I was using Dindolo, and I don't think I set it up properly because I used a guide for a different modding setup. But you get to see some of the Halloween stuff that's unique to this video. So I'll leave some of that in, and then soon we're going to get to some of the challenge stuff. But I actually had to use an alternate perspective mod in order to start in Whiterun, because the way this Tame the Beast of Skyrim mod works is using shouts. And there's not an easy way to add all those shouts to yourself at the beginning of the game, like I did for Summon. So I actually had to go to the place to get the shouts first. So I used an alternate start mod to do that, and then I was able to start the intro after that. I, of course, got trapped into an entire reading of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe after talking to Jack Skellington, after getting a note to do something for the anniversary edition. So it was a whole fun combination of anniversary edition hijinks and modded Skyrim hijinks. So I got trapped doing that before I could get the mod stuff. So I just want to let you know that there was definitely some spooky stuff happening that I'm going to be cutting over. If you want, I can release like a whole copy of this footage if you really wanted to see that. But I'm just going to skip ahead for now in this video. So I ended up approaching the cabin that gives you this the spells for this mod. And in this quaint little cabin, I found that actually the mod was actually voice acted, and it was pretty cool. Tame the Beast of Skyrim was pretty fun. Put a lot of effort into it, so I just wanted to showcase that. I actually didn't capture the voice acting because for some reason my OBS has not been recording the audio of games, despite it being in the input and output, but you get to enjoy some nice chill hop music in the background and my voice here, even though it sounds weird because of whatever voice filter I am using to fix the fact that I'm in an echoey room. So that's fun. Let's get going. Okay, so I turned off that annoying voice filter and decided to go for another voice filter instead. Hopefully this one ends up sounding better, but here's the first instance of me taming a beast that doesn't immediately run off into the sunset forever like Dominus did at the intro. So this is going to be my pet wolf, and I'm going to name him either Bart or Rar, depending on what name you think is canon. Based on footage that I'll show later, hopefully. But yeah, here's going to be my first instance of catching a wild beast. I tamed this beast. Alright, so here's when things start to get going. I'm starting this alternate perspective on the intro. It's actually really fascinating. You get to just like watch the intro take place as just like a bystander. It's a really fun perspective that someone was able to make. And it's going to give me a fun opportunity to actually have this spell already equipped while I start the intro. So I'm not bypassing the intro, but I'm also able to interact with this mod effectively. So that's why I went down this route. I actually almost completely forgot that when I started this mod, I was actually using a setting where the beast actually die instead of being essential, which is like super hard mode considering how easily they die. So you'll probably get to see some of that in this intro. This was before I ended up closing my game to try to adjust my mod list so I could actually like control properly. This whole time I was incredibly frustrated because there was a lot of input delay and input buildup where I'd be holding like the W button to move, and yes, I play on a keyboard. I was holding the W button to move forward, and it was building up the input, so I'd end up running for like 30 seconds or more after I started running. So it was very annoying to play this. I eventually had to do something about it, but I just wanted to get through the intro. So this is about where I noticed that the death is going to be an issue. I don't quite fix it yet, but that wolf that I captured earlier that I thought was going to be bart.rar was actually just the first wolf I captured. I capture a lot of wolves, because wolves are pretty much the only thing you get to capture before doing most of the things that I was doing. But yeah, this wolf died, rest in peace. So here's me trying to capture some of the frostbite spiders. I wanted to get the strong frostbite spider, the larger one, but I didn't end up being able to do that. I just got the small one. So that was unfortunate, especially as you'll see later. Alright, so I'm skipping well ahead here, but here's actually after I've accepted the quest to go to Bleak Falls Barrow. And I've also right here made the decision to finally set my pets to essential, because all of the pets you've seen captured so far and more have died because they die pretty easily, because they're just like wolves and spiders and stuff. And the only way to actually like engage this mod is to have them essential, which is the baseline for this mod. It comes by default like that, so I don't know why I changed it. But I get to see the actual leveling system that was intended for this mod because the beast lived long enough to level up, which is cool. And right about here is when I discovered the main gameplay loop that I'm going to be kind of exploiting in order to actually win fights. When you re-summon your guy or recall them to your location, it typically allows them to continue fighting even if they were like incapacitated because they're essential and can't die, so they kind of just like become incapacitated for a while. But if you recall them, you kind of skip that, so you can kind of like keep them in the fight. And here's where I learned that most NPCs cannot be captured. This is like one of my first attempts at trying. So unlike Summon, it really is just talking about Beast. So you can't just make like random bandits and stuff your pets to fight with. Which I guess makes sense, but I got kind of spoiled by Summon where that was a thing you can do. So if you want to see my Summon video where I can capture people, check that out. I'll have that linked in the description and maybe right around here if I remember to do that. But yeah, so it's just gonna be like animals for the most part. So I'm not sure what NPCs you can actually capture. I'll have to see that at another time. So as you may have noticed from that full battle there, this whole video is kinda just how many wolves does it take to beat Skyrim? And that is funny, but that's not necessarily the type of video I made when I was doing Summon. It was a little more varied. Partially because of what NPCs I can capture, partially because I didn't go after too many beasts, because the Frostbite Spider is really interesting, so I should have gotten one after I turned back on essential pets, because they're actually a good ranged unit. They're firing the poison, it's pretty fun. But with the limited time I had for this, I ended up only really using the wolf. So I'm going to try to skip ahead a little so you can see something a little more interesting in this video. So I'm going to show that to you in just a second here. So here's me skipping ahead further into Bleak Falls Barrow, and here's me capturing a skeever. So that's actually a little more unique. I don't utilize the skeever as much, because they're kind of just like smaller wolves as far as like using them for combat goes, but it is me capturing something new, so I figured I'd show that to you. Alright, so here's actually something really exciting. I always thought that the runs where you don't have a direct damage would end at this point, if you don't, you know, directly damage these spiderwebs. I thought you couldn't damage them at all. But I found that you can actually use the wooden plate exploit to get through these, and that actually helps me figure out another exploit. So potentially, I could do this legitimately if I actually got the wooden plates. I do end up, you know, just spawning them in, just for the sake of being able to do this. But conceptually, it does prove that you could do this legitimately. So you can get in here with wooden plates, and if you can get in there with wooden plates, then you can actually get through to the other side, which is really fascinating. So I was able to figure out how to get through the spiderwebs without attacking them, so that does allow this run to go further. But then I had to figure out how I was going to get Arvel down, because you can't just bypass him with the plates, because you need his golden claw. So, I mean, I'm sure there's some way to exploit through the wall, but I was just doing this, like, I was just messing around because I knew the wooden plate glitch. So I was like, how am I going to get him down? And I remembered that there's a solution to that on the other side of him. So yeah, the solution was to get a Draugr to swing their weapon at me, but miss me, so that way they'd be attacking the spiderwebs, because they just need to be attacked. So, if I can't attack it, I just need to get something else to attack it, which works well for this bottleneck in the run, but it won't solve something later in the game, so it'll just help us continue for now. So here's me trying to learn out the naming stuff. This is when I actually start to name this wolf that I've been leveling. So there's two possible names, Bart or Rar. So I was gonna name him Bart, but then I thought Bart was funnier. And then another time I accidentally typed Rar, so it sounded funny as well. So you can call this wolf Bart or Rar if you'd prefer. So here's actually another fun way I was able to use the spells in this mod. Some of the spells actually create noise, so you can use them to draw enemies. So it's using the spells of this mod, but to interact with the environment, which I thought was unique enough to include in this video that I've been cutting around a lot. So here's me just using the spells for the sound that they make. So here's going to be the final boss of this battle. It's actually gonna be my wolf versus the secret of Bleak Falls Barrow. You know, the Dragonstone I need, the owner of it. Or at least the guarder of it. I don't know the lore of this particular person. You'd think we would know more about them. I don't know, I'd have to look into that. But yeah, the Dragonstone will be defended by this boss, so let's see if my wolf can defeat it. So yeah, it looks like we did it. You can beat Bleak Falls Barrow with just a beast tamed. So this would probably be more fun with other beasts other than, you know, just my wolf Bart. But we were able to beat Bleak Falls Barrow, and we figured out how to get past that web wall and cut Arvel down without attacking. So I think we were pretty successful here. So if you'd like to see more, and hopefully the audio gets captured and the editing's a little different, but let me know if you like it, and yeah, thank you for sticking around and seeing if we beat Bleak Falls Barrow with just a beast. Thank you.